Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Fight Pit Podcast, episode 17. And look, we have Wrestlemania 30. This is obviously, this is a build-up to Wrestlemania 40. I thought we should just go back 10 years, you know? See what WWE was like 10 years ago. And obviously, WrestleMania 30, you have some of the biggest matches in WrestleMania history. Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker. Daniel Bryan actually defeating Triple H at the beginning of the entire show and then going on to win the World Championship in one of the best moments of all time. One of the greatest underdog stories in not just WWE history, but wrestling history. This was a great pay-per-view, and WrestleMania 40 looks to be a great pay-per-view as well. Just kind of sad that we don't have an Undertaker match.
Well, he's retired now, so...
Well, I mean...
You never know.
Man, I just wish the streak would have went on forever.
Yeah, I got no wish that Brock Lesnar wasn't the one to end it.
But we did have, at the beginning of this show, and this was before Hulk Hogan got in the huge controversy, so this was kind of the last time that you've seen Hulk Hogan shown in WWE under a great light. Not just by WWE, but by the fans. Yeah. They're cheering Hogan, everybody's excited. The commentary's going crazy for him, which they still kind of do, but not as much as here.
Oh, no.
They were like, oh my god, the legend, the icon, the Hulkster, the Hulkamaniac leader, Hulk Hogan. One of the greatest of all times. And he's the host of WrestleMania 30. And I just want to forget about his controversy. You know, even now I want to forget about it. But right. I was happy to see Hogan actually get cheered.
Yeah.
But yeah, he introduces WrestleMania 30. He does a whole bunch of yapping.
Let me tell you something, brother.
Let me tell you something, brother. We're in the Silver Dome.
Huh? Literally, the crowd is like, huh?
For the rest of the night during promos, people kept making fun of that, and commentary was like, Hogan thinks he's at WrestleMania 3.
And there, you just hear a chant from the crowd go, Super Dome, Super Dome, Super Dome.
Stone Cold comes out, and he's talking about it. He's... yeah, we're in the Silver Dome, but Stone Cold and Hulk Hogan face off. Looks like they're about to do something, and Stone Cold says, "Yeah, I was sitting next to the Hulkster brother
at the Hall of Fame ceremony,
and this guy is a legend in the making.
I have so much appreciation for you, Hulk Hogan."
And then guess who comes out?
Do you smell what The Rock is cooking? Bow, bow.
I'm thinking about it. I think The Rock's one of the only guys that was at WrestleMania 30 that will be at WrestleMania 40 as well.
I think so.
Sheamus. Cody Rhodes, obviously. He was in the Andre the Giant.
Oh, yeah, that's
Battle
true.
Royal.
That's true.
Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Yeah, this was a great card. But we start off with Hulk Hogan. And the actual first match is Triple H versus Daniel Bryan.
Starting off with a banger.
And this was, whoever wins goes on to the main event. We're either going to have that Evolution triple threat match, or we're going to have Daniel Bryan get his opportunity. And you already know what happens. Daniel Bryan wins, and then wins the main event. But we're going to actually go through it. Stephanie McMahon announces Triple H. And that gold Skeletor kind of outfit that Triple H had for his entrance.
It was crazy.
It was amazing. That's quite possibly the best Triple H entrance attire of all time.
And
other than maybe his denim attire, because that was great.
Another little Easter egg, which a lot of people know this now because it's already been talked about. There was 3 future WWE superstars who would take over the wrestling industry today, and Sasha Banks, Alexa Bliss, and Charlotte Flair.
I didn't see Alexa Bliss. I did have it in my notes.
She was in the front left. She had the colored hair. She had the pink in her hair.
Oh.
But yeah, it's Alexa, Sasha, and Charlotte, if I'm right.
Yeah, that is really cool. Kind of Easter egg.
I'm pretty sure Triple H chose them specifically, if I remember right.
Yeah, Daniel doesn't really have a good entrance, just
it's
regular
normal
Daniel entrance, but the crowd's going crazy.
Yes.
The thing about his entrance was that the entire crowd was chanting yes with him.
Wrestlemania.
Dude, it was insane.
Wrestlemania was at its peak.
Triple H at the beginning offers a handshake. Daniel Bryan kicks the handshake out of the way, tries for a roll up, and gets a near fall. Bryan was trying to win there, and he actually gets in control Pretty quickly, Bryan does.
Yeah, and then he gets Triple H out of the ring. I forget. Let me look and see how.
Yeah, Triple H, he scrambles out, and then Daniel Bryan offers his hand.
Mocks Triple H, is just like...
But the game quickly takes control. You don't go to WrestleMania without Triple H, you know, giving the people what they want, or what they don't want.
Right.
Yeah, the game takes control. Daniel Bryan uses his quickness to get back into the match. There was an apron tornado. Like, Daniel Bryan ran off the apron and did a tornado DDT on Triple H. There was a somersault to the outside. Not by Triple H, but... Triple H smacks Daniel Bryan's arm on the announcer table and working his shoulder because, obviously, the shoulder was injured. Daniel Bryan tried to do a suicide dive, but he got caught with the right hand. And in JBL's words, nothing like a right hand. Nothing like a kick in a right hand. Back suplex on the apron to Daniel Bryan, just working that shoulder over the entire time.
Yeah.
And this was really good. I love this little rendition in the match. Bob Backlund's cross-faced chicken wing makes an appearance.
Yes.
Triple H, student of the game. He is the game at this point. He does that cross-faced chicken wing, working the shoulder still. And that's probably one of my favorite submissions.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
It doesn't look necessarily as lethal, like looking at it surface level, but if you think about it, like...
when my uncle puts me in the cross-faced chicken wing, it hurts.
It looks brutal.
But yeah, Triple H kept using the crossface. You know, Chris Benoit or, you know, Daniel Bryan's move.
Name redacted.
But he wasn't doing the yes lock. You know, the yes lock is something different. He does the omoplata, like, jiu-jitsu move with the crossface. It was just Chris Benoit's crossface, though, which Triple H was using. Daniel Bryan, well, Triple H at first tries to do a German suplex, which was kind of out of character for him. Then Daniel Bryan switches over. He does 2 German bridges, trying to get the pinfall on them. And then he gets him up. He's trying for a third one, and Triple H reverses it and does a tiger suplex, which is where the arms are held by Triple H at the back. And he does that, and Daniel Bryan lands directly on that shoulder and on his head. And, you know, that's just... I don't really see a tiger suplex a lot.
No,
and
not.
That's an example of why you don't really see it, because
so
I mean, you don't have your arms to protect you like you would a German suplex,
right?
But it was really cool. There was a reverse superplex. Oh wait, sorry about that. Daniel Bryan reversed a superplex into a sunset flip powerbomb. I think he got the near fall there.
Yeah.
And then he did his signature front drop kicks in the corner. And he was trying for, like, I think he did 2. He tried for a third one, and Triple H...
hits a wicked clothesline.
He did a clothesline that made JBL proud.
So Bryan tries for the flying headbutt, but gets caught by a knee by Triple H, who turns it into his own crossface. And then Bryan tries to move towards the ropes as Triple H has the crossface locked in. Bryan starts to fade... But then he's able to counter
into a pin.
Yeah, but Triple H is able to kick out at 2.
And then he counters it into the yes lock.
He only has a hold of with 2 fingers.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. But that was just like it's really exemplifying the desperation by Bryan, just holding on with 2 fingers. You know, he might not be able to get it fully, but he's not letting go. But Triple H finally able to get the rope, and He rolls out of the ring. Daniel Bryan, he does 2 suicide dives. And then Triple H gets back to the ring. A huge missile drop kick. And then both of them are down. Daniel Bryan does the kip up. And then he starts doing the yes kicks. Just they're for real brutal. They make a sound. And then he does get that head kick off of the yes kicks. And then he does a... He goes for the running knee, and it gets caught into a spine buster by Triple H.
And then he hits a pedigree after that.
1, 2, near fall. There was a roll up, and then look, Triple H is just beating the hell out of Daniel Bryan at this point. Just
landing strike after strike after strike.
But he's eventually able to weather the storm, and he hits that running knee on Triple H. And 1, 2, 3, Daniel Bryan heading to the main event of WrestleMania 30. Daniel Bryan versus Batista versus Randy Orton, World Championship, main event, WrestleMania. And then Triple H, you know...
brutalizes Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, it started off Bryan won. Stephanie comes in, starts smacking him. Daniel Bryan's smiling. He's like, "Yeah, you might be smacking me. I just beat your husband." And then Triple H from behind just attacks him, and then he puts him in the corner. He grabs his arm and starts hitting it into the ring post, and then he grabs a steel chair and hits his arm, and just trying to get Daniel Bryan to, yeah, maybe you're in the main event, but what are you going to do when you only have one arm?
Right.
But yeah, this was a great match to start off WrestleMania 30, and huge stipulation, which actually, led to a great victory for Daniel Bryan. That was the right outcome. If it went the other way, we would have had an Evolution triple threat, but nobody wanted to see that.
No.
I feel like a lot of people would have probably left at that point. But yeah, then after that we had the New Age Outlaws and Authority Kane, which is my least favorite version of Kane. The least scary version, the most soy boy Kane. And they were taking on the Shield, and this was not a... This was a squash match.
Yeah, it wasn't really a match.
The Shield beat them up. Double suicide dive by Ambrose and Rollins.
Spear on Kane. Yeah. And then Roman's just like, "Come on, you need one too, Billy and Road Dogg." They get in the ring, just get double spear. It's like they set themselves up for it. Like they were just like, okay.
Have you ever seen that clip by Roman Reigns where we put two people up, it's the double triple power bomb?
I don't think so.
Yeah, they hit the double triple power bomb for the win.
Road Dogg and Billy Gunn. It was not a good match.
I mean, it wasn't a bad match. It was just a squash match. And at this point, you don't have any trios that are going against the Shield.
Right.
This obviously was one of their last matches until the Evolution feud, and then the Shield broke up after a few months after this. But either way, it was good for what it was.
It was okay.
I guess, but maybe should have been pre-show material.
Yeah.
But then we went backstage. We had a
promo segment for WWE Slam City.
Yeah, it was Sergeant Slaughter, Jim Duggan, and Ricky Steamboat. And then Ted DiBiase, I guess he buys the figures or something.
Buys the figures in the ring.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like,
and then
bro.
You have freaking Ron Simmons come in. Damn!
When I was watching this, I was talking to my mom. I'm like, she was looking at me, and I was like, I just love rewatching this part because you see them build up in anticipation for it, and then they just flinch when it happens. There's like,
yeah. That's every time. And then, look, this next match, I actually thought it was on the pre-show. I just didn't watch far enough, and then I was like, oh my gosh, it's not on the pre-show. The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and this
was low-key.
This was the first one ever. And this was probably the best one ever.
Right.
For real. I agree. And I did notice you had McIntyre versus Sheamus, which, fast forward 9 years later, they're in a WrestleMania match for the Intercontinental Championship in a huge feud. And this was before Drew McIntyre was,
this is when he was
the Scottish psychopath.
He was still part of 3MB.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, you had Woods versus E. That was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I forgot they were in this match too.
Yeah, Kofi was in it as well, but I didn't see. I just seen Big E trying to eliminate Xavier Woods. I thought that was pretty cool. And dude, obviously you had Fandango at WrestleMania 29 beat Chris Jericho in his debut match.
Yeah.
The crowd was going crazy for him. Whenever he did anything, when he was on the apron and he started doing his dances, when he started looking sexy, that crowd was going crazy. The women in that crowd were going crazy. The men were jealous.
I think the biggest pop was when he eliminated Big E. He eliminates Big E, and everybody's like,
yeah. There was a cool moment. Big Show threw R-Truth out of the ring.
Yeah,
and then he started doing his dance, and it's so funny to see Big Show do an R-Truth dance, because he's so big. It just doesn't really look right. Kofi Kingston gets eliminated. Or does he?
His feet are on the steps. His feet are on the steps.
Of course they are. And then he gets back in the ring, and what is he caught with? A Cesaro swing. And that went like 20 times, probably. 20 oscillations. I'm not sure. But
something like that.
Either way, I love the swing, and I miss Cesaro in WWE. Obviously, he's on AEW now, but as Claudio. But still. I wish Cesaro would have been world champion. This
should have been.
After this, maybe not after this, but this was definitely after he won this, he had so much momentum that could have worked,
they did nothing
but they
with
just
it.
didn't do anything with it. They had Paul Heyman be his manager after this, but that was just so that Paul Heyman could, remind people that Brock Lesnar beat Undertaker.
It's just stupid.
So, oh well. But, Fandango, when he was on the apron, I forgot to mention this, when he was doing his dances, Sheamus grabbed him and hit, 25 beats of the Bodhrán or whatever it is.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
Bodhrán or whatever. Yeah, but Sheamus eliminates himself and Alberto Del Rio.
Just straight up tackles him out of the ring.
And dude,
Or not tackles
the ending of this match, Big Show versus Cesaro, who's about to win. Everybody thought Big Show was going to win because this is the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. And Big Show is, basically the second coming of Andre.
Right.
But, yeah, Cesaro picks him up with a huge slam, throws him out of the ring, and Cesaro becomes the first ever Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner.
That was awesome.
He's just the perfect guy to win this match.
Yeah, it's a perfect match for him.
And this next match, great. Bray Wyatt versus John Cena. This is history. This is a historical match. This has been covered by many, and everybody says that Bray Wyatt should have won. And honestly, at the time, yeah, he should have. But seeing what that led up to, their rematch at WrestleMania 36...
I'm glad that he didn't beat him.
I'm glad that he lost because...
that wouldn't have been as big of a match as it was.
Which obviously that wasn't by plan. That was completely by... Bray Wyatt legitimately getting his character removed from WWE because it just wasn't working. And then he eventually came up with The Fiend and came up with the Firefly Funhouse and everything was good, and then it just wasn't. I miss you, Bray Wyatt. And it was very sad to see Bray and Luke out there.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously happy to see them, but just knowing what has happened since...
With, what's it called?
I mean, they've both died. It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is sad, but... Anyway, celebrating Bray Wyatt's match, it was really cool. There was a weird dancer before Bray Wyatt's.
I know.
Yeah,
so I was very...
But there was a cool band doing his theme song, and I loved the guitar that they were doing.
They were all wearing plague masks except for the singer.
Some of these theme songs, because they're at, these big shows, WrestleMania, I've seen it with Cody Rhodes' theme song, where you don't really hear all of the theme song, but because their entrance at WrestleMania is so long, you do.
Yeah.
The guitar on the kind of the longer version of Bray's theme, it was really nice.
Yeah,
I really liked it.
Hear just about everything.
And it was funny seeing John Cena's entrance. This is the first time I really noticed it. The cameraman behind him running just as fast as him. It was so funny. Bray Wyatt starts this match off. He just gets on his knees and says, "Show me, finish me, show me the demon inside." He tells him to finish him, and dude, his laugh, Bray Wyatt's laugh, is so funny.
It's funny, but it's also
maniacal.
It's also very iconic too.
Yeah, Bray was in full control until Cena hits a huge lariat, taking Bray out of it for a while. Bray, he's down. Harper and Rowan, they both get on opposite sides of the aprons, and Bray tells them to get down, which I thought was a kind of cool thing. He wants them out there to distract Cena occasionally, but he doesn't want them to completely interfere. And he's trying to expose the monster, and it's kind of working. John Cena is more devastating than usual because Bray Wyatt's in his head. Bray Wyatt was
showing more
completely in his
aggression
head.
than he usually does.
I think John Cena is Bray Wyatt's obviously he's like this for a lot of people with Randy Orton and Edge, where John Cena is the superhero and they are his villains. You can't have Batman without the Joker.
Right.
You can't really have Bray Wyatt without a counterpart to him, which is John Cena. And John Cena seems to be, out of Bray's entire career, the one that's most susceptible to Bray Wyatt's mind games. From the WrestleMania 30 match to WrestleMania 36, obviously the Firefly Funhouse, that is the perfect example of Bray Wyatt completely in Cena's head, because he changes his entire gimmick 5 different times because he's in his head, which I thought I don't know. I just think Cena versus Bray is probably one of my favorite rivalries. Not one of the best of all time, but one of my personal favorites. There was he was trying for the five knuckle shuffle, and just as he was going off the ropes, Bray Wyatt got in that spider bridge position, which was always scary seeing it as a kid.
Oh yeah.
There was a leg drop. He was going for that guillotine leg drop on Bray, where he goes from the top, trying that leg drop, and Bray Wyatt gets him with a power bomb, which it was kind of scary to see because I know Batista did that to Cena, and Batista broke John Cena's neck doing that.
Ooh.
So it was kind of scary to see, but luckily nothing went wrong there. That was a near fall, and then Bray Wyatt hits this amazing gut buster where he spins John Cena around and just hits him right on the gut. And then there was a DDT on the apron, and Cena's kind of out of it. And eventually John Cena is able to weather the storm. He gets to the top rope. He's looking to pounce onto Bray Wyatt. But out of nowhere, he just turns and jumps on both Harper and Rowan, taking both of them out. And Bray, I thought this was kind of funny. He's on the outside with Cena. He's about to get him back in the ring. And the referee's like, you need to get him back in the ring. And Bray's like, I know. You need to... I've already got it figured out, man. He's so funny. Cena, he grabs the steel steps, and he's about to have this implosion of himself. Like, Bray Wyatt's in your head so bad, he's going to use the steps, but he just
drops him.
Yeah, he drops him. He doesn't. And, he gets back in the ring. Bray Wyatt takes control again, and he has John Cena down, and he just grabs his head.
He's like, he's got the whole world.
He's like coddling
in
Cena.
His hands.
Like, running his fingers through his hair like he's a baby, like he's taking care of his kid. So
maniacal.
It's just amazing. And then there's an AA near fall. Rowan distracts the referee while Luke Harper just kicks John Cena with a super kick right in the face. And then,
Bray
what?
I was just about to say Bray hits his running senton, his famous running senton that he does.
The next big thing was basically when Harper was on the outside and John Cena was out there too, and he sees Harper. He's not really going for Bray. Cena's down. Harper's just kind of basking in the presence of this match, and then he just gets speared right through the barricade by John Cena.
Cena just comes out of nowhere and just
Bray Wyatt for real gets a surprised look on his face. He gets out there. He gets Cena in the ring. He tries for the Sister Abigail, and he hits it and gets a near fall.
Oh.
Wyatt grabs the chair, and he gives it to John Cena.
And he goes back to the whole thing he was doing earlier of the
Finish me! Finish me, Cena!
Show the devil from inside of you! Finish me!
And then Eric Rowan gets on the apron, and instead of hitting Bray Wyatt, he hits Eric Rowan. Bray Wyatt grabs him. He tries for the Sister Abigail. He reverses it into an AA, and Cena wins. Lol. We transition over to the Hall of Fame inductees. They have their moment. I didn't even watch it. I don't really care.
It's not that big of a deal.
I mean, you had Ultimate Warrior. I know that. I like the Hall of Fame, and I like, celebrating the legends, but I'm here for WrestleMania 30. And what happened next on WrestleMania 30 was Lesnar versus Undertaker.
Oh.
I'm going to be honest. I was watching it earlier, and, obviously I know that this happened. I just didn't watch. I've never watched the entire match. I watched it, and afterwards, just seeing that 21-1 above
was devastating.
Undertaker, I cried. I was like, oh my God, for real. This is real. Undertaker's been here for 2 decades, and this is the end of an era.
Honestly, I saw something that, it'd have been one thing if this would have been the end of The Undertaker after this. But the fact that they kept going after this didn't make any sense.
Yeah, it didn't.
They should have done it when Undertaker knew he was done. I'm wondering if he thought he was done and then he decided to do it again. I don't know.
Well, what makes this match even more it is the end of an era is the fact that Undertaker's went on record to say that he doesn't remember the match because
he had a concussion.
He was so heavily concussed. And Yeah, that just kind of... That's like the...
That's kind of heartbreaking, honestly.
It's the bad cherry on top.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, okay, it's fine. And then you have an interview with Undertaker. He says, I don't remember any of it. It's just like, it's one of the biggest moments in WWE history.
It's one of the biggest moments of his career.
Of his career and in WWE history. He doesn't even
yeah.
remember it. It's terrible to think about.
But, yeah, at the beginning of the match, Taker was in control pretty much the entire time. Taking Brock Lesnar to school until he missed a kick. And, yeah, he hits the F5 and he gets a near fall. And Undertaker seems to be pretty out of it. He's able to get the Hell's Gate. And Brock Lesnar, he's in it for a little bit, and he's able to pick
him up and slam him.
Yeah, he picks him up, powerbomb, and then just as Lesnar is trying to get back into it, he gets put in it again.
And then Brock literally does the exact same thing.
But he gets even higher this time and just slams him right on the mat.
I don't think that probably didn't do too well for Undertaker either.
Yeah, Undertaker, he gets put into the Kimura. And I like this spot where he got put in the Kimura. He's able to get out of it, and then he transitions.
He puts Brock in a Kimura, too. Because you usually don't see Undertaker going for those type of moves. You usually see him going for, like, I guess more, like...
brawling style.
Yeah, brawling style submissions. And
he is legitimately a black belt in jiu-jitsu, though. Undertaker is.
That's cool.
But, yeah, there's a old school. He tried for the old school on the top rope, and Brock Lesnar just grabs him, pulls his arm, and gets him in the F5. And that's 1, 2, kick out. That's the second F5 of the match. And then Brock Lesnar's just beating him down in the corner. It's just like
demolishing him.
Yeah, just punch after punch. He gets on the middle rope, punch, and then Undertaker grabs him up. He doesn't get the full last ride, but he does powerbomb him. And yeah, it looks like Undertaker might be in this. He gets him up, hits him with the tombstone pile driver. 1, 2, kick out. And just knowing that, this was the end of Undertaker's streak, maybe it kind of took away from it for me and you watching it in retrospect. Yeah. But watching it at that moment, I do remember I was asleep when it happened, actually. And my dad, he came, I was only like 10, but my dad came in my room and woke me up and was like, Undertaker just lost.
What?
Yeah.
What? It's like waking up and the reaction that you give when your dog just died, just like, your dog died. What?
But he hits the tombstone.
Maybe not as devastated, but still.
This was the stalemate moment of the match where Undertaker, he hits that tombstone, they're both down, and he's the first one that, he does that Phenom sit-up, just like him and Kane. For some reason, I was prepared for this to be the whole part where they laugh at each other. Is that not this one? No, that's SummerSlam 2015.
Okay, that was before, that was after. Okay.
Yeah, that was their rematch.
I was waiting for it. I was like, oh, it didn't happen.
No, wait. Maybe it was SummerSlam 2014.
I don't remember.
Yeah, either way, it doesn't matter. Yeah, Undertaker, he gets that tombstone. They're both down. Undertaker gets up, and he picks Lesnar up for the tombstone once again, and Lesnar counters it. He gets him down. He picks him up and just manhandles Undertaker into the fireman's carry position. For a F5. And then the referee counted fast.
The referee counts 2, 3.
And that entire crowd, it's just like
and then you have
silence.
Yeah, and then you have the famous line from Michael Cole. The streak is over.
You have that famous line from Paul Heyman. He's like, oh my God, Brock, you did it! You did it!
That's like the 2 consecutive infamous lines from it is first Michael Cole going, the streak is over. And then Paul Heyman's like, oh my gosh, Brock, you did it!
And Paul Heyman and Lesnar are hugging each other. Like, Lesnar looks legitimately happy. Like, that is probably the biggest moment of his career. Forget UFC and WWE championships. Ending Undertaker's streak, it's huge. That's never able to happen again. No. And I don't really think that, and they were saying on commentary, this would never happen again. Like, I don't really think that, I mean, this happened on purpose, or on accident. At first, like, Undertaker's streak wasn't on purpose. It was just, okay, Undertaker has been booked to win this match, and then he wins this match, and then he wins this match, and then after about 14 wins, people realized, oh my god, he has a streak, and this is like huge.
Yeah, I
so then that
didn't
becomes the
start right away.
storyline of all of his WrestleMania matches, and now 21-1. I think, did he go 25-2 throughout his entire WrestleMania career?
So he had,
I know he lost to Lesnar and Reigns. And that was the only
Lesnar.
ones.
And I think after Lesnar,
It was 21-1. He beat Bray. He beat Shane. He lost to Roman. He beat at WrestleMania 34. He beat Cena.
And then
at
AJ,
35, he beat.
He didn't face anybody at 35.
Did he?
I think he took a break and then.
Then
faced
36,
AJ.
he beat AJ. So that would be.
I don't think he was in 30.
I think that's 25.
Here, let me look real quick just to double check. Keep going.
But yeah, there was I think the most famous line, or not the most famous, but the best line that happened after this was Taker. He sat up, and he sits up. He does that Phenom sit up, and this was kind of the exclamation point on the fact that, yeah, this is done. He sits up, and he falls back down at first. And he gets up, he walks out of the ring, and JBL says, the gunslinger is leaving town.
Yeah.
And that was, yeah, I cried. That was a hard watch.
Yeah. So WrestleMania 35, there was no match, which explains why it was one of the worst WrestleManias in history. On top of the fact that it was like 7 hours, I think.
If you're counting the pre-show, it was 7 hours.
But yeah, no wonder it was so garbage.
Yeah, and then we had a bathroom break match.
The Vicky Guerrero Divas Invitational.
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
It was stupid.
It was like 10 women. It was the Divas Championship.
It wasn't good until literally, like, I would say the two good spots is when Natalya did a powerbomb suplex combo. Like, I think it was Oksana, which is crazy, thinking Oksana's in a match like this. Oksana going for a superplex on Naomi, and then Natalya gets under Oksana and hits a powerbomb while Oksana suplexes Naomi.
They did mention that this was the first time that the Divas Championship had been defended at WrestleMania. I'm not sure if that's for all women's championships in WWE.
I don't know.
But,
I didn't catch that.
Yeah,
but
I already knew when this was announced
that AJ Lee was going to be winning.
No, I knew that I wasn't going to watch it. When AJ Lee came out, I was like, okay, I might watch this, but yeah.
That's literally the only big name there was.
Yeah.
Was AJ. So, at least for me, it was obvious that AJ was going to win that.
But yeah, AJ Lee won, which, that was cool. It was just the rivalry between Vicky Guerrero and AJ Lee, which...
Yeah.
I just didn't
Stupid.
really get it.
Didn't make
sense.
sense.
Kind of pointless. Yeah, and then we had a little backstage segment with the main event of WrestleMania 1, Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff burying the hatchet with Mr. T and Hulk Hogan.
It was kind of cool.
It was a good little moment. And then we moved on to the main event of WrestleMania 30. Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, and Batista for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And yeah, Randy Orton, he came out with the band playing his theme song, which was really cool. And what actually started the match was Daniel Bryan immediately shot off with a huge dropkick into Randy Orton. And yeah, Orton started working on Bryan's shoulder, which was...
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Expected.
Batista tries for the Batista bomb onto the stairs on Randy Orton. This was after they'd already taken Bryan out for a second.
Oh, I thought...
And Orton, he reverses it into a backdrop on Batista onto the steel stairs, which was... That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then... I had actually never really realized what those stomps by Orton was called, but it's the Garvin stomp.
I just called it the Randy Orton stomps.
Yeah, that's what I kind of knew it as too. But
I think
the Garvin stomp. He stomps on the leg, then the other leg, then the
arm,
hand, then
arm.
the other hand, then the head.
Yeah.
And he did that to Batista, and Daniel Bryan got back in. He hit him with a drop kick, he hit both of them with a missile drop kick. And then there was kicks on both of them. Yes. And he's just going back and forth on Orton and Teaster.
Oh, yeah.
Teaster and the Keister. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And then they were both set up in opposite corners, Teaster and Orton. Yeah, Teaster.
Teaster.
Bryan tries to take out Teaster's Keister.
Whoa! I thought you were going to say Seaster.
And then he keeps going back and forth with drop kicks, which was pretty cool. That was a good moment.
Yeah.
And then Batista suplexes Daniel Bryan out of the ring.
Oh.
Batista's on the apron, suplex, and it looked like a hard landing for Bryan. And then Randy Orton, he's able to hit hit Batista with the superplex, and off of that, Daniel Bryan from the other corner hits the flying goat, the flying headbutt. And then Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, while he has Orton in the yes lock, they come out and they pull the ref out. Yeah, they pull the ref out, and then they have a replacement ref, Scott Armstrong, who Michael Cole called the crook, Scott Armstrong.
The second coming of Brad Maddox.
Yeah, and then Bryan was hit with the Batista bomb, and that got a near fall. And then Daniel Bryan, he's on the ground, and Armstrong's like, he's looking over him, and he just gets kicked in the head by Bryan.
Armstrong's just minding his business and just gets kicked in the face.
No, he's being a crook.
He's being a crook, but he's over there.
The WrestleMania main event out of his winner.
He's just chilling and just gets hit. Gets hit with a kick.
It's Stephanie, Triple H, and Scott Armstrong on the outside.
And he hits a dive. Yeah, he hits a woman.
The suicide dive takes out everybody. And then Triple H, he's outside of the ring still. He's pissed that Daniel Bryan just took his wife out, and he grabs the sledgehammer from underneath the ring. And Daniel Bryan, he
hits a blow on him.
Yeah, he gets him before he's able to get him, and he
grabs
uses the sledgehammer.
Smashes the sledgehammer into Triple H's face. Knocks him off the apron.
Yeah, and then Daniel Bryan, he gets a pin on Batista. Orton breaks it up. And then Batista and Orton team up. They start taking Daniel Bryan out. And then this moment.
It's crazy.
Batista bomb into the
an
table.
RKO
while Orton hits the RKO. It was crazy. And the worst part about it wasn't Daniel Bryan.
It was how Randy.
Randy Orton landed on a freaking monitor. You can see it immediately.
I didn't even see that. I kind of want to go back and see that and see happening. Ugh.
He starts bleeding from it.
Oh my goodness.
He does. They showed the replay of obviously Daniel Bryan getting hurt.
Right.
But Orton, he lands and then he immediately he's like, oh my back, and you just see a monitor underneath. Ugh.
Wonder if that crowd. Well, no, he had back issues before that. Never mind. I was about to say, I wonder if that started his back issues.
But yeah, Daniel Bryan after that's taken by the doctors. So then it's a one-on-one match between Orton and Batista. Orton hits a vintage Orton, that DDT. He tries it on the inside, and Batista's able to reverse it. And then Orton's just like, fuck this. And he grabs Batista and does it on the outside of the ring. Which that's a lot harder than the inside.
And then also you have the crowd in this moment chanting, Daniel Bryan.
And Daniel Bryan, he's able to get off the stretcher.
He turns into Hulk Hogan. He's just like...
He turns into Mick Foley.
He turns into Mick Foley too. Comes back after being thrown off the cage. And comes back, gets himself... inserts himself back into the match. And just starts going after him.
Yeah, Orton tried for the RKO, and that got countered into the yes lock. Batista breaks it up, and then Bryan just put Batista in the yes lock. Orton breaks it up, and then Orton just throws Bryan out of the way. Batista's trying for the spear on Orton. Orton gets out of the way, and he doesn't hit the spear on Bryan. His shoulder just collides with Bryan's face, and it just looked devastating.
Ouch.
And then there was an RKO on Batista, and for real, this could have been the moment where Orton won because Bryan was out of the equation and he hit the RKO.
Yeah.
That was a near fall. Ooh. And then he was trying for the punt, and as on Batista, he was going for it, and then out of nowhere, Bryan comes in with the running knee.
Yeah.
And then Batista, he tries for the Batista bomb.
Gets turned into the
running knee, and then the yes lock, and Bryan gets Batista to tap and has that legendary moment with Connor.
Yeah, and then he stands up on the announce table with both titles doing, yes.
Iconic.
Yes. It's an iconic moment.
We will see a lot more iconic moments just like this at WrestleMania 40.
Oh, for sure.
We have Cody versus Roman. We have Jimmy versus Jay. I mean, many more matches. Becky versus Rhea.
We got a nice match that just got announced, too. We got Naomi, Bianca, and Jade versus Damage Control.
Oh, yeah.
That just got announced. That's going to be a banger, I think.
Wait, what? Damage Control? Isn't Io facing Bayley, though?
Oh, sorry. Damage Control being Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane against Bianca, Naomi and Jade.
Well, I know who's winning that.
Yeah, I do too.
But either way, yeah, we have WrestleMania 30. That was a great watch, a great show.
Yeah.
And, you know, I thought we'd just take a look at that because we're about to...
Head
It's
into
10 years later, and we're about to do WrestleMania 40. So when we hit WrestleMania 50, if we're still doing the podcast, we'll go back and look at WrestleMania 40.
For sure.
But yeah, stay tuned. We're going to start doing weekly reviews soon. So we gave you SummerSlam 2016. We gave you WrestleMania 30. And we're soon going to do a lot more. So just stay tuned. Tell us anything that you wanna see, any old pay-per-views. That can be WCW, TNA... ECW, anything.
We'll look at your recommendations and we'll see what we can do.
Oh yeah. Peanut butter.
Peanut butter.
Up in it, bitch, we tryna get higher. Put it back, I cooking a rack, me eating that pack of meal in a stopper, holding it down, pull up in the primary real, the trust not faking the cap. Yeah, killing the trapper, coming back, I'll break new loose, keep up in the track. I'm feeling the beat, you burning, healing, marking the tie, beam, baking, screech. Don't clap in the sea, air track and pee, I'm master love, but fiend too deep, I'm switching my game, take passion, even with my shot, no line to see.